starting again. So excited for this next interview. I hope that you have loved our first 3 interviews today and you're gaining wisdom to follow your heart, to go for your dreams, to say yes to your calling, and maybe even finding your calling, the next training that you want to do, the next certification, the next awareness that you want to go into. Following your calling is what this is all about. Truly, truly. And so we are going to be talking about, as I share here into Facebook as well, we are going to be talking about energy again. And we're going to be talking about your life energy. Now, we've talked a lot about that today. I cannot type next. There we go. All right, back to it. So we're going to be talking about energy next. And most of the people that have come on, all the people that have come on to this particular series, I've known personally. I met in an event, or I've known for years, or I followed for years, or I personally worked with and hired myself. And Faryl is different. Faryl's different. Faryl, I put a calling out into the universe, because I always do. I say, who is for the highest good? Like, who is for the highest good? What is really going to shift things? And she came into the world. Other people came into the world too, but she came into the world, and I thought, this could really be beautiful. This could work. And so I asked her to utilize her heart call and give me a session, right? Because I want to know that whoever I recommend, whoever I'm behind, is legit, gonna get shit done, get results, right? I want your heart calling to get results. Why? Because I spent years with my heart calling not getting results. And it was the most painful years of my life, whereas going from healer to healer to healer, from course to course to course, from this to this to this, and not being able to share it, not being able to land and just be doing my calling. And once I broke through that threshold to do my calling and started getting results for my clients, whether it was one person at a time or 40 people at a time or 150 people at a time, whoever I was working with, when I started to get results, whether it was in yoga, that's when yes, this is why I'm doing it. I don't do business, and I don't think anybody here in healing, and you're following your heart, you don't do it for you. You do it for the other person. So I want to bring people to you that I know if you go to them, you're going to get results. If you study under them and you learn their techniques, you're going to get results. They're going to take you to that next level, or you can take whatever they teach you in their certifications in their business, and you're going to go and get results. So coming back full circle, going into this next interview, I said, okay, this could work. I'm gonna listen to God's source. I'm gonna say, yes, Jesus, okay, this works. Take a deep breath, and I'm gonna say, okay, well, let's see what you got. And I didn't tell Faryl this is what I've been doing forever, and maybe I did say I have an understanding of energy work. I might have said my mother developed this program. I don't know, but I didn't tell her anything that was happening with me. And I didn't think that she wasn't oh, you're Alicia. She didn't know me from social media. We were connected through a like-minded friend. And so she did her work. She did her heart calling. I had a session. And I specifically withheld things because it was a test. It was a test. You want to know that you're bringing something good. I want to know somebody's real and they know what they're doing. And there's a lot of energy workers. There's a lot of intuitives out there, medical intuitives out there that just simply don't know. There's a lot of medical doctors. There's a lot of therapists. There's a lot of all of us that don't check ourselves and just pretend that we know, and we can really mess people up that way. And what happened was every area, no other areas, but every area that I knew, and I'm very, very in tune with my body, was blocked, hurt, needed the session. She called it out. She called it out. And everything to it so beautifully, so divinely, that I could not have said yes faster to her coming on this summit. So without further ado, please, let's talk about pranic work. Let's talk about pranic healing and what it is, because it is different than anything I've experienced. Let's talk about holistic success with Faryl more. Faryl, please join us on the screen. Welcome, 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 welcome.
Namaste.
Namaste. So, we just start off with like, how did you get this heart calling? Like, what was your path into following your heart into your work?
So I was one of those kids who we would now just say, "Oh, I'm empathic." Nobody knew what that was then. There wasn't a word widely used. So I was just a sensitive kid. Like I could feel everybody else's emotions.
Yeah.
And I also found that not only could I feel them, but I could calm other people down.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know what that was or how that was, and nobody around me did either. So as my gift sort of developed, I started to be able to hear some things, see some things, and I use air quotes because we don't actually see those things with our eyes. We see those things with the back of our head. That's a whole nother discussion. And just really overall sense energy. And it kind of scared me, so I shut it down for a long time.
Yeah.
And then I got to college and I found some like-minded people. And so I started to play with that, as well as taking classes like world religions, like trying to figure out if this was a religious experience, if this was a esoteric, like any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing with tarot cards. I started playing with crystals, right? Dabbled a little in, some spell work at one point, just really trying to
You're just
understand.
trying everything. You're like, world
Right.
religions, let's just pull it all together. Yeah, I've
Right.
been
And
there.
I found
Been
Reiki.
there.
I found
Yep.
Reiki through a friend who was, we kind of lived on the outside, the fringe just a little bit, because we were really interested in all this deep philosophical knowledge that we would now call quantum physics, right? Like we were
Right.
trying to explore all that. And I found Reiki, and what I was told as I was getting my levels of Reiki was that I had this profound ability to heal. And that led me back to remembering how I felt when I would calm people down.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I made me feel different. So, there was always this sort of push-pull happening. I always did Reiki as a side hustle. So I'm a trained educator, working on my PhD. And I was working in a school and an online college at the same time and doing Reiki on the side, because I was like, oh, that's very analytical and what have you. I want to do some of this.
Yeah.
And then I decided to take the advice of a friend who had started in pranic healing. She kept telling me, it's enough with what you're doing. You need to go to the next level. And I found pranic healing right before COVID. So I need to like give you I was a Reiki master for years.
Yeah.
And then my friend said, come take this class. And it was, I think, the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. And so I took all the classes. I went through the initial certification program. I was like eating this up like a sponge. Boom, 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 boom. Did all the classes, went to a retreat, came home from the retreat, and the world shut down. And all of a sudden, people were just coming to me going, I know you just learned this new thing. Let's do, like, what can you do? We're feeling this, we're feeling that. Everybody was feeling everything during COVID.
Right.
And so I ended up being able to leave a full-time position and
Wow.
do what we call pranic psychotherapy, basically, all the time. Now, there is pranic healing, which is for physical and spiritual as well, but pranic psychotherapy is one of those. And I fell into this niche of people who wanted to become entrepreneurs. And they were struggling with all this trauma. And I was struggling with people who took all of these certifications and they're like, now what do I do? And feeling really bad about themselves for all the money and the time. And I started healing them, and it became a thriving practice. Like literally just happened. And it continues to be that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. So I don't know, because I'm just feeling into like, who's going to be listening. So I know some people are still thinking like, well, energy healing's woo-woo, like, or some sort of religion, right?
100%.
It like takes them away from God and their faith. Although Jesus did energy healing, and Jesus worked directly with prana in all living things, and I've gone to hands-on healing therapies, and you know, we do prayer over people, right? Like all of that is it. So I want to demystify that a little bit with our audience for some reason.
Yeah, sure.
So what is pranic healing, and how does it differ for those that are going, what do you mean next level from Reiki? Because a lot of people now also have Reiki wisdom, and then let's do a little bit of it.
Yes, I love this. Okay.
Okay.
So the lack of a dictionary definition is it's an ancient art and science that utilizes life force energy. We call it prana, but you all have heard it. Chi, ki, ruah, mana, like those, we're all talking about the same energy. Okay. Basically to utilize that life force energy to help the body heal itself. But it happens by manipulating what's called bioplasmic matter on a patient's body. So let me just break that down, because it's actually not as challenging as it sounds. You've all heard the term aura. We all have an aura. We actually have many, many layers of what we would call energy bodies that are outside of us. Now, ailments, illnesses, sicknesses, anxieties, stresses, things like that all start outside of the body. Because here's how this works. We have our physical body, right? Meat suit. Then we have what we call the etheric body, or the etheric double, which is literally an inch off of your current body in the exact same shape. Okay. That is one of the closest places for energy healers. When they hover, they're working in that body. It's your etheric double. Next one is emotional, then mental, then astral. Like, so getting into all of those is only helpful if you're really wanting to understand what each body does. But knowing that there are 7, and that is a layer that we call the aura, and that's the area in which the energy healer heals, all they're doing is removing congested energy. Or dirty energy is probably a better way to explain that. Now, why is that important, and how do we demystify it? Super easy. Everything around you is connected to you through an energetic field. There are a million sites that will show you pictures of how this is my dance space and this is your dance space. I mean, there's a reason that these things are here. There's a reason why you don't want somebody to talk to you right here. Because it overwhelms your body. That's why the safe distance is actually the edge of your aura. Right? That's where we communicate with people on a natural level. So that's because the closer you are, the more your energies are entwined. Okay, so that's just a basic, like you can look that up. It's scientific. That's not, has nothing to do with anything other than science.
Yeah.
What happens though is that when you come across people who walk through your aura and they contaminate it, not intentionally, it just is, right?
And we contaminate theirs.
Of course.
Right?
And
It's just how life works. So don't try to un-aura yourself or make sure you have clean energy. Like you'll just be, as Anna said in her last video, just like you'll be policing yourself the whole time. Like it's about managing cleansing.
correct.
Like each day, it's like taking a shower each day, morning and night, really, for me.
Correct. And there's reasons why this is. Now, when that happens and you have now you're back in your own self at home, you know, just kind of feeling whatever you're feeling that doesn't seem to be related to anything that's going on around you, it's because you're picking up on other people's energy.
Yeah.
And it's important to recognize when it's not yours. Right?
Yeah.
And it's really simple. If you sit back and you think for a moment, you put your hand on your heart. The reason you put your hand on your heart is because your heart opens all of the other chakras. Right? So a chakra is an energy center. That's all it is. They govern different processes biologically in the body.
Yep.
When it's not yours, if you were to take a deep breath with your hand on your heart, you won't feel it anymore. If it isn't yours, if it is yours, then you'll know because it'll still be there when you take a deep breath, put your hand on your heart. Then it's yours. Okay, so something to play with. The other thing I would like to you had mentioned Reiki versus pranic healing. So as a student, okay, first, I will say what Reiki did for me was open me up. And I will be forever grateful for that practice because it allowed me to really understand what the human channel is capable of, because that's what we are. We are using life force energy from air, sun, and earth in combination with divine energy that every single human being has, and using that to help build resilience within your own body. Right?
Yep.
Reiki, there were a couple of pitfalls for me with Reiki. I'm taking my ring off for a purpose. When I did Reiki, a lot of times I would have energy climb up my hands. Right? And so I'd have to do a lot of additional energetic work. I found that I was intuiting using crystals, but they're not really written anywhere because that's what you're supposed to do, or which ones, right? Like people have now created those. But when I learned Reiki 25 years ago, it was very clean and very, these are the hand positions. This is what you do. There's
a whole science with it.
Correct.
Yeah. I just could never remember all the symbols.
Yes. And then you have to
this day.
Well, they're important.
I know. I'm like, whatever the right one is, that's what.
which also works. Intention also works. So with pranic healing, what happens is we've taken it to the next level in the sense that there are protocols like you would get if you walked into a doctor's office and they said, okay, step 1 to clean a wound is this, step 2 to, right? I have a protocol for almost every ailment that exists, both in a book and in an app, and new ones come in. Like we have a whole new protocol for COVID. We had to create one as a group of pranic healers. Now, when I say we, the masters did that. Here's the other thing about pranic healing. It's 3 steps: clean, energize, stabilize. The healer stays clean the whole time using spray. Or wiping energy off. Salt bowls next to me. All diseased energy will go in there. Okay? So nothing's floating around. We also use the crystals. These are intentional. It's a very specific cut, clarity. It's called a wand. So this is where the energy comes out. It's as if it's an extension of my hand. This makes it bigger. So those are a couple of differences. On top of which, pranic healing has physical, spiritual, and psychological components to every chakra.
Mm-hmm.
Because 90% of the ailments that we have that are not broken bones because you fell out of a tree or got into a car accident or something of that nature are psychological in nature. Like that's where they start.
Yep.
Not the other way around.
Nope.
Right? So
that's right.
We need to look at like, what are these energy centers mean? What do they do? How do they work?
Yeah.
In order for us to truly, whether we're healing for the purposes of ourselves or we're healing because we want to be a better leader, mother, father, son, brother, doctor, doesn't matter. If you're not maintaining the healing that you're doing, energetic hygiene, it's just like anything else. It'll go back in. You go to a chiropractor once, doesn't work. There's a reason. Your muscles are out of alignment as well. They need to be trained. It's the same thing here. So before I do actual pranic healing, I want to teach you all a little maintenance trick.
Cool.
First of all, we always invoke. You will hear me do an invocation in just a minute before I do any kind of healing, but an invocation is not a scary spell.
Okay.
It's a term that means help. Like that's it. That's it. We're just asking for help. The reason that you do this, and I would recommend you doing some version of a prayer invocation for yourself when you wake up and before you go to bed, right? The invocation alerts the universe, your spirit guides, anyone else who's coming in to help you that you're doing something so that they are watching over both you and your client / patient, and they're offering you their assistance. So when we talk about religion, because you mentioned Jesus was an energy healer.
Well, it's important, right? So yeah, if you don't know my background, because I know we don't really know each other, but I've been in yoga for a long time, meditation, so Hindi, yep. Buddhism, which are the same, and then raised Catholic, right? So it's very open to saints and all of this stuff, and then I wrote my master's degree was on the study of consciousness and the layers of evolution in our bodies, right? So I do identity work with the bodies, and the Yoga Sutras in the Bible comparison, because I was like, I didn't know that Christianity and yoga and stuff didn't go together, because they do in Colorado, and they do in California, but when you move to Alaska, they no longer do. So I was in my 20s, right, my late 20s, and just realizing that there was a whole group of people that didn't have body lights healing, that didn't have yoga prayer, right, that I did in the Catholic Church, like didn't have meditation like I did in Youth of Unity and the Unity Church, didn't have this relationship with Jesus that other people in other places of the world do, because they're stricter. And so I did my Yoga Sutra in the Bible study, because I was very conflicted of, well, is this true? Who's right? Is this Satanism? Is this bad, or is this not? And I took it straight to Jesus, right? I took it straight to the Bible. I was like, what's the truth? And what I learned is, like, the Bible doesn't teach too much about science. Do not study the Bible if you needed to go and get surgery. Just don't do it. Right. It's not there. It doesn't exist. Our anatomy doesn't exist there. But it does teach a lot about philosophy. And it does teach a lot. If you look at it, the sacraments are the chakras. Like everything is there of every other faith and religion that I was also studying my whole life. I lived on ashrams. I've studied every type of meditation. Like this is just my past life, right? Like kind of what I did to know all this. And so yeah, like my cleansing thing, and I speak about all the time, is just like Jesus Christ, God and Savior, love through me and never cease. And every morning, but I visualize like energy gone, call my energy back, because sometimes I leak out. I'm a healer. I help people. That's what I do. Call my energy back, anchor, intention for the night. Do the same thing first thing when I wake up, because some nights I'm out traveling. My soul has an agreement to go and help people, so I ask to travel some nights and get myself into some interesting healing situations that my higher self is doing, but my physical self is incapable of. So I do the same thing. And the days that I do it, it's negative. And the days that I have harder days. And days that I don't, do it, just are more seamless. Life is easier. There's a huge difference between when this wasn't a practice and it was a practice. And it's been a practice for like 15 years. But a lot of people, especially Christians, we have this whole block of people because of this misunderstanding. And we're not giving invocations. We don't see the Psalms as invocations. We're not told that they're mantras. We're not given the other language. We don't know how to speak the other language because they have one language, right? But if you say, well, just say a psalm, they'll be like, oh, cool, right? We say you have a soul tie. Oh, excellent, right? Oh, you have like you got to know their language. But once you know Christianese and the other world, it's a science, right? And it's all science. It's all quantum physics now. We have it, but it wasn't mainstream for many years, and it didn't go together. So not to teach on top of you, but just to share with you, since we don't really know each other, like where I'm at, like that's super important. So that's why I asked it in that way, because you can just, it's a surrender. It's like, yeah, help. So if you don't believe that there's angels, then just call on Jesus. If you don't believe that there's Jesus, then just call on universal energy. If you don't believe that there's
right,
there's a million names. There's literally a million names. Jesus says, there's a million names. My Father has a million names. It's a million names. Call on love, right? But it's that intention that I think is so important. So I'll give you back the floor. Thank you so much for letting me explain that. But I really, one of my missions is to connect these two, right? You're more than a doctrine. You're more than this book that was changed and fixed and reworded and messed up and whatever for so many years, right? And you're more than that, but you can hold true to whoever speaks to your heart. Like there were times where I wish Jesus didn't speak to my heart, right?
We all do.
I prayed just like, why? Like this is the hardest thing. Why do I have to be this way and that way? But Jesus said, remember who stood in front of you and told you to go home and tell. Remember who lifted you up and was doing healing on your thyroid while you were levitating in that thing. Remember who showed up at Dunamis and did that. Remember me. And I was like, yes, Father.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? But you want me to meditate? They're going to crucify me. He's like, yeah. And I walked through that friggin' field and I worked on Sunday. Get your fucking ass up and meditate. You do your damn yoga. I told you. Right? And I was like, yes, Father. Right? Like going against everybody around me. And that's been the hardest thing for me. I don't know why I'm having confession time right now. But that's it. Okay, now I'm giving you the floor. That's why it's important. That's part of my heart's mission. Thank you for letting me do it.
Of course. Well, and here's what happens, right? This happens all the time with me. People, all of a sudden, people are like,
like what?
Everything. I'm like, okay, great. Let me just, so much of the work that I do, I just need you to, aside from the actual healing, is holding and having the ability to hold space for someone else, regardless of what your body is saying you want to do. Right? Because more often than not, people want to like jump in and like hug you. Are you okay? What can I do? How can I help? And 9 times out of 10, we kind of don't really want that from someone. But we also don't know how to say no. This is all societal construct and all that. But what's interesting about religion and the work that I do is that, first of all, you really can't be a pranic healer if you don't believe in God. So let me just say that. You can't. And the reason that you can't is because we are connected to the divine source. Well, notice I said the divine source. There is one universal divine source. What I've learned as I've continued to study outside of just the healing component, because there's 2 arms of pranic healing. There's a spiritual arm, still not religious, and a healing arm. Okay? We have classes like Inner Buddhism Revealed, Inner Christianity Revealed, Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul, right? These are the types of things. What we have learned is that there is divine knowledge in all of us. Our abilities to embody that divine knowledge changes generation after generation after generation. There's always a few, right, that are like the awkward ones in that generation. Nikola Tesla. I always go to him because he's such a stark reminder of he actually was building all these things. People thought he was completely nuts, like off his rocker. And now most of the stuff that we have technologically is because of him.
He turns me on so much. I love that man. My whole body is like, I'm like, okay, shush. We're in an interview. Little woo-woo. Yeah, no, I love him.
Look at the religious texts and cross-reference them. There are more similarities across all religious texts than there are not.
Absolutely. Yep.
So if you think about that and you take the major threads and themes, which are basically mostly about morality and, how to live well, we actually see a system that is more divided by the different religions than it is brought together, because they're all actually saying the same thing.
Yeah.
What they're praying to, that's where things change. So you have Jesus, you have Allah, you have, for those of us, I was brought up in a Jewish family, so it was just God. Like we didn't have we didn't pray to Moses. Like he was a prophet, but we didn't pray to him. Yeah. All of these other, the different deities in Buddhism, they're just avatars of that same knowledge. They came here in different places at different times to provide us with the knowledge that we needed and could understand at that time.
500 years apart from each other. It's quite amazing.
Yes. But it's important because, like, if Jesus, as we all know him to be, was to plop down in the middle of Africa, like the Africa we know now, I'm not talking about then because the whole world was different then. But if there was a Jesus today who wanted to teach us and then go to Africa and teach them, his words would have to be different because their culture is different, because people understand their life different.
Yeah.
But the same threads will be there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we call our energy back. Let's go through these steps. Now we're going to run over because I had my little soapbox confession.
I can do.
Thank you for the healing.
In just a few minutes. How long do I have? Tell me how long I have.
We have till about 45 after. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So about 15 minutes.
Okay. So the very first thing I'm going to do is an invocation. Now, like we've just been discussing, I'm going to say words. They're my words. Replace them with whatever you want to, because the people that I call on are people I work with all the time. Okay. For you, if you don't want to participate in this part, what I would say to you is just at least put your hand on your heart so that you're accepting whatever energy needs to come for you, right?
Mhm.
That's just one hand on your heart is fine. If you really want to participate, you would take both hands close together like this and put the knuckles of your thumb into your heart center. So not where your heart is actually located, but your energetic heart center, the middle of your chest.
Okay.
Take a deep breath. To the Supreme God, Divine Father, Mother, to Master Choa Koksui, my teacher, to Maha Guruji Meiling, his teacher, to all the spiritual helpers, healing angels, archangels, holy gurus, and saints, to the beings of love and the beings of light, to Count Saint Germain, Mother Lakshmi, we humbly invoke for your divine guidance, divine blessings, divine protection, and divine healing. As we open this beautiful healing for this lovely group of people, that they may experience peace and calm. With thanks and in full faith, so be it, and so it is. Take a deep breath. And you can open your eyes and come back to me. I'm going to just explain what's going to happen. Okay. 2 names that I mentioned that may not be familiar to you are Mother Lakshmi, Count Saint Germain. Count Saint Germain is an alchemist and very, very new divine master that we use for transformation. And Mother Lakshmi is one of the many deities in Buddhism. I don't remember which sect of Buddhism that focuses on prosperity and abundance. Okay. Felt like the right thing for this group. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes or hood your eyes if you're comfortable. It's going to be quiet because we don't have it set up for there to be music, but so it'll just be quiet for a few minutes. What I'm going to do is what's called a general group healing. And so I'm just going to kind of do an outside aura cleansing of you. And then I'm going to focus on the center of your eyebrows, which is your ajna, because that's your over analytical mind trying to trick you into all the things that you think you can't do. So we're going to get rid of that because this is meant for more. We're all meant for more. We're going to clean that. We're going to clean throat because we want to be able to release.
Yep.
Okay. Solar plexus is the emotional center of everyone. And then your root chakra, which we call the basic chakra, which is your dynamic activities and stability and all that. So just so that you're aware, we heal from top to bottom. That doesn't mean you won't feel things in other parts of your body. There's nothing about this that will be painful. All I am doing is tuning in to the energy of the group.
Perfect.
Okay. Now, this is also for replay. So those of you who are on the replay, hi. Or on Facebook and I can't see your names, hi, you're all included. Okay. So go ahead and close your eyes. And just bring into your mind's eye something that you want to release. It can be anything. Okay, staying with your eyes closed. I want you to take a moment to take a deep breath and then imagine out of the palms of your hands, the soles of your feet, and the base of your spine. Be aware of those 3 areas and imagine golden rods of light coming out of them and into the earth. And now you can begin to move your fingers and your toes, your wrists and your ankles. So I'm going to let you just sit for a second and listen. One of the things that I had mentioned before was I was going to teach you a technique, and I never taught it. You're going to imagine that your hand is your dominant hand. The side of that dominant hand is a knife. Your energy centers or chakras are on both the front and the back. And they look like, okay, so this is actually a crystal that I used while I was healing, but it's almost basically what a chakra looks like. Okay. Except the point is facing in. This comes out. The point is attached to your spiritual cord, which goes from the divine to the earth, straight through your body. Everybody has one. So this is what the shape of a chakra looks like, basically, for all intents and purposes. Okay. You're going to take that hand and you're going to, with intention, say in your mind, I disconnect from anything unwanted and unauthorized, or whatever version of that in your own words. And then you're going to, with gusto, you're going to go across your body, because it's really your whole arm you're creating into a knife, so that you hit your spleen, which is on the left. Okay. And come around and up, right? So just, and then you do it twice. The second time you imagine the back is in front of you, like you're looking at your own back, and you go like this. That method alone can help to reduce your energetic depletion immensely, because what you're saying is, I've done the work I need to do with you, or I've spoken to you about whatever I need to speak to you about. I'm now going to let you leave with your energy and me leave with mine.
Yeah.
That's the purpose. Just that alone, between clients, between like dealing with your family, like you walk out and go to the bathroom, just right. Like it has become, anytime I go into a bathroom, right? I mean, throughout my day, it becomes, bathroom, wash your hands, disconnect. So it's just all part of like a hygiene process that you would put into place yourself.
Okay.
And it's important because you don't want to be having other people suck your energy off of you.
No, or sucking somebody else's energy off, because you're connected to God's source. So that energy, you're a conduit. We were talking about it all week. Like you're a conduit. Be in your own conduit. Trust that. And yet we're here to serve one another. Yep.
I have a couple things that came through during the healing, and I almost stopped because they were loud. If there is somebody named Mary on this call somewhere, John is okay. I don't know where John is. I don't know if John's alive or not alive. It doesn't matter. That's the message that came through. Mary, John is okay.
If that's you, let us know in the comments.
Yes, please. I would love to know who Mary is, should she be on this call now, or if you're on the replay, if there is a replay.
There will be.
If you're on the replay, just tag me in a post, because I would really love to hear from you. And then Lisha, was your shoulder acting up during that?
Yeah, especially at the end. I was like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah,
I felt you
shoulder
removing
was doing
things.
This. And I was like, oof. And so I switched to just using my hand for a little while, just to lessen the energy, because when people are in active healing, like from a cancer or like a big healing, then their system's just a little more raw.
Yeah.
If you're on here, both Facebook or what have you, if anybody is lightheaded, first of all, if you let me know, I can fix it. Just say somebody is, and I'll do the thing. But you can also do it yourself. Do semi squats. It's just a lot of energy coming in here, and you need to bring it to go in like this.
Okay. Beautiful. So how can people get in touch with you, since we're wrapping this one up and I'm another interview coming? We could stay here forever, but how can people get in touch with you to either get sessions or to take the certification and learn more about?
Absolutely. So anything that you want to know about pranic healing related, or if you want to work with me, I would start with moorenergyhealing.com, which is, my last name is Moore. So it's MOORE. Energy. So there's 2 E's in the middle. Healing.com. It will take you to my website. I'm in the process of updating, but anywhere that you hit on there that says work with me, you'll get to where you need to go to get to me. You can also email me at hello@moorenergyhealing.com. So if you want to reach out directly, you can tag me in Facebook. I'm pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm about to be starting a chakra series. So if you're interested in learning about your chakras, let me know. And yeah, I mean, this is my life's work. This is what I do now. I don't do anything else. I am a full-time professional pranic healer.
That's so awesome. So you guys, if you are if you registered and you're seeing this not as a replay or not as open to the public, but you're registered, you're going to get the replays later. VIP, you get to keep them for life. Please, on our about the author page, about the event page, her link is right there. Just find her, look below, click the link, easy peasy, everything is there. If you're not, you have them here straight from the source. That was wonderful. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for the education, for the wisdom, for that opportunity to move forward and move the energy. I definitely felt it, and I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate you too. Have a beautiful rest of the summit, everyone. Enjoy.
Yay. All right, everybody. So we didn't really do the Q&A in that time, but we'll be right back in just a moment for Sari. I'm so excited for this interview. You're going to absolutely love it. We're going to start bringing it back down